Hi friends, we're here with Catherine. We're doing bow demos today. We have a Conrad Gotz vintage bow, 58 point something grams. I can't read my writing. But we'll turn it over to Catherine with her personal violin. She knows the violin very well, so she'll be able to tell you how the bow responds with her lovely violin.
Overall, I really enjoy the feel of this bow. It feels really nice in the hand. The cool thing about this bow is when I first played it, I was like, there is something weird about this bow. And by weird, I mean super duper cool. So as I was playing it, I was like, I noticed that like my arm was kind of like almost buckling out, and I was like, what is happening? And then when I did, whenever I was performing the shorter bow strokes, I was like, where are these, the ricochet points and saute points? I was like, where are these points? What is happening? And it turns out that this bow, let me see comparatively, I think it's this bow that I compare it to. This bow is a smidge longer than, this is my bow over here on your right, my left, and then this is the Gotz bow on your left, my right. It's longer, and like that millimeter point, like 1.1 millimeter, was like, I was so thrown off. And then of course, once I learned that was the thing and I adjusted, this bow is like so incredible. I have longer phrases. I can hold out for just a little bit longer on some of these longer notes, which is like super awesome. Now my arms are not, I have pretty long arms, but they're not super long. So like if you have, fairly long arms, you will love this bow. You will so love this bow. I'm thinking back to my friend from high school who has like this giant eagle wingspan. He would have, I think, purchased this bow in like a heartbeat. All the violinists I've met since then have short arms, but he was the one person I knew that had really long arms who would absolutely adore this bow. you're ever playing a piece that has short notes, spiccatos, TA, ricochet, etc., make sure that you know where those balance points are. As you see, you watched live at how I had to refigure out where all these balance points are, because the balance point on my bow is like here and here, but on the Gotz, I had to move it up, like way up. Like this is where the sauté was happening, and the ricochet is like right about here, which is so different, but so cool. It has a nice spring to it once you find those spots. Very, very nice spring. This is a pretty warm bow. It gets a nice warm tone out of my instrument. And my instrument is fairly neutral, like me. And so it can either be pushed towards the warm or it can be pushed towards bright. Depending on, my setup currently is leaning warm. And so this bow it's really drawing out a lot more warm tones because it's pushing it further in that direction. Again, it feels pretty good in the hand because of the length of the instrument, or not the instrument, excuse me, because of the length of the bow. I find that on certain things I do have to kind of manage the weight because the balance point is a little bit different, and it just takes some adjustment. But there is nothing about this bow that I would say that has been uncomfortable. It's just a matter of, adjusting to the much higher sauté point and spiccato point. The balance point is fairly high on this bow, and then same with the ricochet, really learning where those placements are. So, if you decide to take home this bow, I'm not seeing any warping or anything. If you decide to take home this bow, you just have to spend a little bit of time with it, making sure that you're getting very familiarized with where all of those points are, and then of course choosing the right rosin. I did kind of a combination of the leatherwood, I think is crisp and clear, and then the lonesome pine dark, and I find that it responded a little bit more to the leatherwood than it did to the lonesome pine. So I think it likes more lighter colored rosin, and it allows it to be a little bit more grippier onto the string, because the lonesome pine dark doesn't do as well as leatherwood in humid areas, but of course, rosin can be adjusted and experimented with a lot easier than bows. So if you like the length of this bow and you overall like it and you just want to adjust some of the contact, test out different rosins. Make sure you test out the different rosins. And I find that this responds better to leatherwood. But overall, really its biggest and most advantageous feature is that little extra millimeter of space in this bow, of length. It really, it allows for, just a lot, like, it gives you more room in the bow to play around with phrases, and I don't ever feel like I'm gonna run out of bow, like I sometimes do on my hill bow, which is awesome. So for those of you with long arms and you want a little bit of longer bow, definitely check this out. See if it fits your arm and it fits your frame. And especially if you're looking for a bow to encourage more warmth in your instrument, this is definitely the one.
Awesome. I'm learning so much from you, Catherine. Thanks so much. Interesting maker, Conrad Gotz here. So I even asked a violin shop that I took this bow to get it rehaired and everything, because I don't do that yet. I do outsource that. But they just said, violin bows, like violins, they come in all different sizes. So some are just a bit longer, and this happens to be one. So if that's what you're looking for, well, here it is. And who better to demo it than Catherine? So thanks for listening. We'd love to hear your comments. Play on, my friends.